Well, welcome to our webinar with parents of the newly accepted class of 2029. My name is John Meuler. I am the Director of Admissions at Marquette High. I did graduate from Marquette back in 2000, and I am thrilled to be able to promote our faith-based college prep education to future generations of students and parents. I will serve as the MC for tonight's webinar. You will get to hear from Father Mike Marco, our school president, and Mr. Jeff Monday, our school principal. They will share some comments on the value of Jesuit education and our exceptional learning environment. Then we will take some time to answer your questions. We will start with some questions that I have already heard from parents, and you can utilize the Q&A feature on your screen to submit questions during our time together this evening. If we don't get to your question tonight, then we will be able to follow up with you later. At this time, I am going to turn it over to Father Marco to lead us in prayer and share some of his reflection on the value of Marquette High School.
Great. Thanks, John, and welcome everyone, and thanks for taking the time to join us to continue your discernment as to whether or not Marquette University High School is the right place for your son's high school experience. Not the least bit objective here, I know, but I'm pretty confident that this is a great place and that your son would certainly thrive here. So we hope that as we go through these days and you look to make that decision, that Marquette High is the place that you decide is best for your son. But before I share future reflections, let's just take a moment to begin our evening in prayer. In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Good and gracious God, we give you thanks for the gift of this day. We give you thanks for the gift of this time. And we ask that you send your Spirit to be with us this evening, guide our conversations. We pray in a special way for the young men in the class of 29. The young men as they continue to discern what is the best fit for them as they look for their high school careers. Continue to walk with them, guide them, provide them consolation and confidence. Keep us all mindful of those who are less fortunate than ourselves. We make this prayer as always in Jesus' name, amen. In the name of the Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit, amen. And again, thanks for joining us. Some brief reflections from me on the benefits of a Jesuit education, the benefits of a Marquette High education. And again, I'm totally biased and I freely admit that. But when you ask what Jesuits do well, I think most people, if they were asked that question, especially here in the United States, but I would dare to say worldwide as well, that Jesuits are known for education, for being excellent educators. And I believe that to be true here at Marquette High, where we have an outstanding faculty and staff who have committed themselves to this institution and to making sure that the young men entrusted to our care have an absolutely wonderful experience. You know, one of the phrases that Jesuits use as they look at all of their apostolates, and it certainly pertains to our apostolate of education, is cur personalis, right? That care for the whole person. Yes, we are an academically rigorous institution, but we go way beyond just academics and really do everything we can to make sure that we're caring for the whole person so that our young men are having a good academic experience, they're having a good spiritual experience, they're having a good health experience, that they have this sense of belonging. And one of the things we hang our hat on, and you will hear this time and time again, if you were to join us and send your sons to us, is what we call the grad at grad. These 5 characteristics that we work on throughout their 4 years here, where we hope to instill in these young men the values of the graduate at graduation, the grad at grad. And the first of these is to be academically excellent. Obviously, again, going back to it's a rigorous college prep program, and we want our young men to walk across the stage after 4 years and knowing that they have been well prepared for college and life beyond. But academic excellence is just one of the 5 grad at grad characteristics. The other ones, religious is a second. We want our young men, and it's not a piety thing. It's about learning about their faith, Catholic or not, and coming to an acceptance of their own personal beliefs and why, and a deeper understanding of what it means to be a religious young man and to live that in their day-to-day lives. So we want them to come to a real sense of being a religious young man. We want them to be loving. We want them to know that they are loved by a God who loves them unconditionally and then sends them out to love the world in the same way. That's one of my favorites, and I preach on this time and time again at Mass. I get accused of having like two homilies, the unconditional love of God. But we want our young men to know they are loved and then have that ability to love the world that they face. And we want our young men to be open to growth, to try new things, to really challenge themselves to step out of their comfort zones and to really experience the world and again, to challenge themselves to learn new things. It's amazing the transformation that can happen from a freshman year to a senior year in terms of what they've experienced and what they've risked experiencing and the growth that comes out of that. It's remarkable. And then lastly, we want them to be committed to doing justice. This is a key element of Jesuit education, that they can be change agents in our world and quite frankly, have an obligation to go out into the world and to make a difference, to be committed to justice, to recognize where injustices are, and to recognize that they have a role to play in correcting those justices, that they can be agents of change in our world. Those are the 5 characteristics of the grad. And as they walk across the stage and shake my hand and receive their diploma, we hope that they take those characteristics out into their world and truly make a difference. And I believe we are very successful in this. I believe that what we do every day at Marquette High truly is a gift to these young men as they are a gift to us and makes a difference in our city, in our country, and in many cases, our world. So that's going to be my little fervorino, my stump speech, if you will, for Marquette High. I'm happy to answer any questions as we go through the evening. Looking forward to having this conversation. But for now, I'll pass it back to John, and I think he's then going to introduce Jeff Mundy, our principal. So thanks again for joining us this evening. I look forward to the conversation.
And thank you, Father Marco. Now I would like to introduce our principal, Mr. Jeff Mundy. Jeff, when we talk about Marquette High School, we often talk in terms of faith, scholarship, and community. Can you provide some highlights on what a Marquette High education means for faith, scholarship, and community?
I would love to. Thank you, John. Welcome everyone to this webinar. Hopefully some of the members of the class of 29 are joining us as well as you learn more about what you'll experience over the 4 years in your Marquette High education. I also want to congratulate our parents and the students in the class of 29 for your acceptance to Marquette High. It really is an accomplishment to be accepted to Marquette University High School. I'm really proud of your academic achievements as well as who you are as young people and what you bring forward in your high school experience. As John mentioned, I'd love to reflect for a few minutes on the 3 areas of a Marquette High education. That, of course, being faith, scholarship, and community. We'll begin with faith, and Father Marco, I think, set the right context for what we're about as a Catholic Jesuit school. We're about developing young men of faith, young men who are willing to live out their faith lives in daily interactions. We do that in a number of different ways. First, we begin every school day in prayer. We take time before we hit the books and hit our studies to reflect on why we are here and what we're called to in the day. So we begin in prayer. We also have opportunities for students to attend masses and prayer services that are offered to the entire community. Every Thursday during the middle of the morning, students have an option of going to a liturgy where they're able to be with their Marquette High brothers and worship together in recognizing they are loved by God and that they're called to love one another. We also have a dynamic retreat program. The Jesuits, as Father Marco mentioned, are known for their outstanding work in education. They're also known for their meaningful work in retreats and offering people a sense of who they are in their journey with Christ. And so the retreat program is a 4-year sequence program starting in freshman year where students encounter different retreats to assist them in growing together as men of faith and developing ways that they can live out their faith in daily life. We have a theology program. Students take 4 years of theology here at the school. The theology courses not only give them the sense of knowledge that they need in understanding faith, but also gives them a sense of how to live out their faith life. So it gives them a sense of being charged with their faith in a way that they can, as was mentioned, change the world through the ways that they serve one another. We also at the school really embrace service as an opportunity for our young men. In our mission, we speak of developing or forming young men to be men for others, men who are willing to use their gifts and talents to better the world. And they experience that here in high school through the different opportunities that they have to serve their community. In a few weeks, our seniors will take 2 weeks away from their studies, away from their classes, and they will immerse themselves in the community and serve at different service sites. They'll have an opportunity again to give their gifts to others and learn from the community and learn from those they serve with. So that's a really great opportunity for students to understand what it means to be a Christ-like man for others. Here at the school, our faculty are really charged to be models of faith. We're blessed to have 5 Jesuits that work in different capacities in the school. So your sons will have an opportunity to interact with our Jesuit priests and a man in formation to become a Jesuit priest. So that too is a benefit of a Marquette High education. Of course, we're an academic institution, so I want to speak to the area of scholarship. You know, as we know, Marquette High is known for its academic excellence. The U.S. Department of Education recognizes Marquette High as being a blue ribbon school in the category of high performance. And that it really is a result of the hard work of our students and our faculty as they do all that they can to advance their learning. The results that they show place themselves, we are placed in the top 10% in the country in overall school performance. So it's a really a testimony to the hard work of our students and our faculty. Marquette High offers a college prep curriculum. So students during the course of their 4 years will be well prepared for the challenges, the demands of post-secondary education. Not only will they be well prepared for college, they'll be well prepared for life after college. They'll have a sense of what they may be called to in terms of different areas that they may have interest in. And that is something that they are offered through not only their classes, but as well the co-curricular activities that students partake in. You know, we speak of a Marquette High education as developing the whole person. And what we mean by that is that we're not just centered on the humanities or the arts or the STEM area, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, but rather we want to give your sons a holistic experience in his education, an experience where he's able to think critically, where he's able to communicate well, he's able to interact in ways that are constructive, and ultimately we want to enable him to be a change agent in his life. Someone who is compassionate, someone who has a courage and a willingness to make great things happen in society. And that's really what a Marquette High education is all about. Of course, we offer advanced coursework here during the 4 years. You know, there are opportunities for students to take advanced placement courses as well as dual credit courses. Dual credit courses are courses where students are enrolled in classes that give them both high school credit as well as college credit. So they earn that college credit and take that with them as they move on to post-secondary education. And there are many benefits to earning college credits while in high school. One of those benefits is that it gives students perhaps an opportunity to study other areas of interest that they may not have time to study in college if it were not for the dual credits that they earn. Students also have the opportunity to work alongside their classmates in ways that enhance their own learning. You know, we really embrace a sense of working together as a way of supporting our education. So students are offered the opportunities to be in teams and projects that really give them an opportunity to interact with one another, and of course, to be led by a highly qualified teacher. You know, we speak of the high level of education that's provided at Marquette High and the level of preparation that students receive for post-secondary education. And, you know, sometimes there's a hesitation as to, okay, is my son really going to be ready for this? Is my son well prepared to enter into a school that really embraces a rigorous college prep education? And my response to that is that we absolutely meet students where they are as they enter the school. Your son's admission to Marquette High is an admission of confidence. We are confident that your sons will do well in the college prep program that exists here at the school. There are a number of different supports that are offered to the boys. You know, the first level of support is offered through the classroom teachers working with the students in the classrooms during their class sessions, as well as teachers that are available to students outside of class hours. Teachers do want to do all that they can to see that every boy in their classes are successful. And that's the charge, that's the mission that our teachers have with the students. All of our students have academic advisors. So your sons, as they start as freshmen, will have an academic advisor. Their academic advisors meet with their students twice a month. And it's an opportunity to check in with the students to see how they're doing in the academic realm, as well as in his social involvement in co-curriculars and the different programs that are offered at the school. We have an excellent college counseling team, college counselors that are helpful to our students as well as to our parents as they think ahead to the next step in education. So our college counselors are very active and involved. And then, of course, we have our school counselors who are caring for the social emotional well-being of our students. Above all of that, we have an academic success center where 4 faculty members are charged with the responsibility to see that we're able to deliver programs that are specific to the learning needs of all of the students. So all of those levels of support really speak to, again, what was stated earlier, and that is a commitment to cura personalis, the care for the whole person, to see that we're doing all that we can to care for your sons as he develops academically, socially, in his faith life, and mentally. The final area that I just want to reflect on briefly is the community aspect of Marquette High. And the Marquette High community is defined in a number of different ways. First, we are a brotherhood. The students see themselves as a brotherhood. You often hear that coming from the mouths of our students when they speak about what does it mean to be a hilltopper. They'll speak about the brotherhood that exists here. And it's a special type of a feeling. And it's something that's developed over time. Doesn't happen overnight as the students begin, but something that really defines what it means to be a part of this community. At Marquette High, we are diverse. We are diverse Geographically, students come from as far as an hour driving distance to go to school here to as close as walking distance from the school. So we draw from students in the different counties surrounding Milwaukee and in Milwaukee County itself. We're diverse in terms of our socioeconomic makeup. You know, students that come from different backgrounds related to race and religion. So that's one of the benefits of a Marquette High education, is to learn from and with individuals that are different than themselves. We're a community that not only is defined by the students, the faculty and staff, but as well by the parents and the alumni. The alumni network at Marquette High is a strong network. Our alums are faithful to the school, supportive to the mission of Marquette High, as well as to the current students. So you see our alums present in the school consistently, and they care for our current students through the ways that they offer themselves and offer advice to our students as they continue to experience the Marquette High journey and then consider what comes next. We're a school that really embraces a sense of pride and spirit. You know, we like to have fun. Students work hard, but they also play hard. They have a lot of fun in the school. There are co-curricular activities. There's something for everyone. And if by chance there's not an activity that matches your son's interest, we work hard to see that we put something together that meets his interests. We also encourage students to try something new in terms of the different co-curriculars. I mentioned all of the different activities. Well, we have 17 sports, 17 WIA sanctioned sports. We have club sports that are in the school that are not sanctioned by WIA. We have 47 co-curricular clubs and activities, homerooms. And then we have a number of other activities that exist, like intramurals, a time during the middle of the day that students are able to be together and just have a fun time with one another. So again, the community is defined by the students, the faculty, staff, the parents, and the alumni, and it is something that we're really looking forward to having your son experience over the course of the next 4 years. I'm going to pause here. I know that there are several questions, and perhaps, John, there are questions that came to you prior to our meeting, and we're happy to respond to any of those areas of inquiry related to what it means to be a Hilltopper and the experiences that are in front of your son.
Thank you, Jeff. Our first question, I think, would be appropriate for both of you. Could you share a little bit about the benefits of an all-boys high school?
Sure, Jeff, if you don't mind, excuse me, I'll give you a break for a minute and share my thoughts on that question, because we get this question quite a bit, as you might expect. And I've had the good fortune as my life as a Jesuit priest to work in both single-sex all-boys schools and a co-ed school in Cuyahoga Falls, Ohio. And in every experience, it was wonderful. And again, the schools do excellent work. But what I noticed in terms of a difference between an all-boys school and a co-ed school was that when it came to sort of extracurricular activities and things that were presented to the students to participate in the co-ed institution, the kids typically sort of aim towards or align themselves with what I would call kind of stereotypical male-female roles. So for example, campus ministry leadership positions in a co-ed school were dominated by the girls. Retreat leadership, dominated by the young ladies. Theater, music, those things, it was very hard to get some of the young men to participate in those activities. And at Marquette High, if those things are going to happen, it's the boys who are going to do it. So our boys are retreat leaders. They're big brothers. They're getting involved in theater. They're getting involved in music. And that's a really important thing where they get those skills and they participate in those programs and they don't limit themselves because of perceived it's not a guy thing to do, right? And the other thing, and Jeff already mentioned this in his remarks, but the brotherhood, that is real here at Marquette High. And these young men make lifelong friends and those deep bonds of brotherhood. I can't tell you how many alumni I've spoken to over the years as my time as president. When I ask them about their experience at Marquette High and how they go back to the friends they made at Marquette High continue to be their lifelong friends. They stand up in their weddings. They are the godparents to their children, and they look forward to reunions to re-engage that brotherhood, which was so incredibly powerful and so incredibly important to them. So I think there are so many benefits. And lastly, I'll make the comment, you know, when you're looking at access to Catholic education, and I say this frequently as well, if you want access for as many kids as possible to have good Catholic education, you need solid sort of educational institutions in both the co-ed and single-sex genres, because different environments are going to be, you know, more suitable to certain kids. But the all-boy environment, I think, here at Marquette High is a real value.
I think a couple of other areas beyond leadership, you know, what I hear from parents is that Marquette High faculty really get boys, that the experience of our students in the classroom is really centered on their learning specific needs. And so the teachers understand the kind of the blessings of working in a classroom that has all boys, and they play to that. They gear their teaching to all boys, and that's really distinct and something that's brought forward in terms of feedback. The same is true for the experiences on retreats. It is an experience that boys really enjoy and they see as an essential part of what is formed as a brotherhood. And the homilies at masses, you know, the homilies, and Father Marco is one of our presiders often. It is a homily that touches our boys in a really unique way. So the benefits of having those types of messages, that type of an environment that gets boys. And then the other piece is that at Marquette High, being an all-boys school, the students are more open to taking risks, you know, to try things that perhaps they would not try in a co-ed environment. And, you know, with risks, sometimes comes failures. And that's embraced here. You know, we learn when we fail and we move forward from that. And we want to continue to see that our students are trying new things, are not just staying within their comfort zones, but really expanding their own experiences beyond what is familiar.
Our next question is really geared towards transition. You know, transitioning from 8th grade, middle school expectations to high school expectations, and specifically, you know, Marquette High expectations. So there are parents who are concerned about, you know, the academic rigor of Marquette and that transition. And Jeff, you were mentioning that a little bit. So just to follow up on that and helping to explain some of those steps we take to help that transition, and then just kind of the overall balance of expectations at Marquette High School for, you know, how students manage their time, manage their workload, activities involvement. Just how do we help our students, particularly that freshman onboarding, to keep their balance as they enjoy their freshman experience?
So I'll begin in terms of the transition. You know, our students typically in a freshman class represent over 90 different middle schools or grade schools. Our teachers recognize that the learning experiences are different, so we begin by meeting students where they are to see that we're setting a foundation of skills that they can draw upon as they continue in their studies. We have an orientation process that occurs with students that begins in the summer. We have our summer school program, which is a 4-week program that students are invited to, We have an academic boot camp. It's a week program that students are part of where they learn some of those study skills that are essential for their success as they move forward. So they get to know those skills. They also get to know some of the teachers that they'll be working with in their freshman year, as well as learn the different parts of the campus. We have an advising program. I mentioned before, your sons will have an academic advisor. He will meet with his academic advisor just about 2 times per quarter. Every other week is typically when we have our advising scheduled sessions. Your sons will be a part of a 2-day orientation process where they will get to meet other students in the class and get to know them. They'll also have a small group that they will be a part of, typically 8 to 10 boys, freshmen in a group that's led by a faculty member as well as 2 big brothers. And that the PAY, it stands for Positive Alternatives for Youth sessions, are held once a week during the first semester for our freshmen. And in those sessions, they take up different issues that are relevant to a student's transition from middle school to high school, very specific to the challenges that he will encounter or the new experiences that he will encounter. And then finally, in the second semester, we have our freshman retreat. And next week is when we have our freshman retreat for the class of 28. It's really an experience of class unity. It's led by our juniors and seniors, and they have the opportunity to build the community within the class. The freshman retreat is a highlight experience. It will be a highlight experience for your sons. And there are some experiences that lead up to the freshman retreat that the freshmen benefit from. So all of those combined help in the transition from middle school to high school.
And I might add, while it's not dealing with the students directly, but Jeff and I in that first semester of a freshman year invite parents of freshmen to come in for coffee and conversation so that you can share with us how your son is transitioning into Marquette High. What are some of the things he's enjoying? Are there any red flags that we need to be attentive to? So being very intentional about being attentive to all these things as these young men transfer into what can be a challenging first few weeks of a school year. And I don't know if you mentioned this, Jeff, but the freshman cup happens, I think, early in the first semester, where the freshmen get a day to kind of come to the school and participate in events, and there's food trucks in the parking lot, and again, just all these opportunities to make them feel welcomed at Marquette High, and again, being attentive to any issues that may be surfacing in those first few weeks.
There's maybe a related question of thinking about this, and some particular parents, thinking that their son may be the only one from their grade school, or knowing that their son is the only one from their grade school coming to Marquette High School, and just nervous about making friends, in maybe from a smaller school to a bigger school. I know I speak to that a lot. I was one of those students who was the only one from my grade school that came to Marquette High School. Just wondering if you have any kind of words of advice for those messages for parents who may have some of those concerns.
The first comment I would make is that he's not alone. There are other boys in the class that also are the sole representatives from their grade schools. So typically we have anywhere between 40 and 50 students who will be the sole representatives. We're very intentional about creating activities for the students so they get to know one another. And that's an important thing in that we want to build community within the class. I mentioned before that part of the dynamics of a classroom is getting students to interact with one another. That is purposeful. We want to teach them executive functioning skills, how to interact appropriately with one another, and that gives students an opportunity to meet one another. We also really encourage students to participate in a co-curricular activity early in the school year. We want them to get involved right away. Something that they then find connection with other guys, an activity that they enjoy together.
There was a question just relating to summer opportunities. And again, all under this umbrella of thinking of the transition to Marquette High School. I'll kind of frame a couple of things, but then just ask a little bit more for your input on kind of the format of those summer opportunities and expectations. So you'll hear us talk about summer school, which is a specific program that we have. It's a 4-week summer school program. There are students who are invited, recommended, to be able to join us for that summer school program. So it's not as though it's designed to be able to take all of our incoming freshmen for that summer school program, but we want to be able to reach students academically to be able to make sure that they're just developing some of those skills where there may have been gaps that developed during the course of middle school. So I would expect we could have 75 to 80 boys joining us for that summer school program. And again, those families would kind of know if they've been invited to summer school. Sometimes there are opportunities, if there are openings in summer school, families have reached out to be able to see if their son could join summer school. And that happens a little bit later in the process, right, to know if there will be spaces available. But other summer programs happen too. There's something called our Academic Study Skills Boot Camp. That's like a 1-week version of some of the things that the boys receive during summer school, but a chance for them to be able to hear from different academic departments. It's the last week of July if you're looking ahead to your summer school calendars already. Nothing to sign up for quite yet as far as registering for it, but just know that there's an opportunity, and that's available then for all students. We started something a couple years ago called our Freshman Adventure, where we take a day where we invite the students, all of the incoming freshmen, to join us at the Catholic Ecology Center, and we'll take a couple buses from Marquette High out to the Catholic Ecology Center, spend a day in nature, do some nature walks and some team building, communication kinds of activities, and just all of these, and then sport camps, summer explore camps, information that you would have started to receive about those summer opportunities. All just great opportunities for the boys to start forming some of those connections, whether they're academically based or socially based, sport based, but to be able to start developing some of those connections as they're forming those new friendships heading into high school. But just to give you some umbrella understanding of what's going to be happening and coming at you in the summer, that's my job, is to make sure that you stay informed of those different opportunities that are coming during the summer. But Jeff or Mike, anything else to add when it comes to summer expectations?
As you mentioned, John, there are summer camps that are available to the students, and they just provide an opportunity to get to know others in the class, as well as to learn more about the campus and what we have to offer.
And I might add, Jeff.
Go
ahead, Jeff.
I was just going to say that we have some different events that will take place in the coming months before summer,
right,
that acclimate students to the programs here at the school. Last week we held a pizza party and basketball game. There are other events like that that give some socialization opportunity to the incoming freshmen.
Yeah, that was what I was going to mention too, those events that are coming up soon.
Father Marco, maybe I'll toss this one to you, but what is the current Jesuit presence at Marquette High School, and what are potential connections with Marquette University?
Yeah, there are currently, this year we have 5 Jesuits in the building, which for some of you may not sound like a lot, but those of you who know kind of the reality of Jesuit vocations, to have 5 full-time Jesuits in the building is a good thing. Most Jesuit schools are happy if they have 1 or 2. So we're fortunate to have 4 priests and a scholastic who is, as Jeff mentioned earlier in his comments, in formation to become a Jesuit priest. We are hopeful that we might have a young priest join us in the fall, a newly ordained priest. There's a couple guys who are potentially a fit for Marquette High. If that were to happen, we would be up to 6, which is a good thing. Our relationship with Marquette U, and Jeff can speak to this too in terms of some of the academic connections, but obviously as Jesuit institutions, I live down at Marquette University, so live with the guys that work at Marquette U. There's a healthy, strong relationship there where we're centered on the same mission, right? Obviously higher ed a little different than secondary ed, but committed to educating young people to be men and women for others. And that relationship is strong. I've met the new president down at Marquette U. I don't know him well. We've only had the opportunity to be together once, but that's a relationship that I'm sure we both will look forward to building over the course of the next year or two. So that's the connection from the Jesuit piece. Jeff, if you want to talk about some of the academic connections with Marquette U, that'd be helpful.
Yes, Marquette University is one of our dual credit partners. So we typically offer a course here at the high school campus that's taught by a university professor or an instructor. And the students earn, again, high school credit as well as college credit. So last summer's course was in accounting. We are in a relationship with the business college and have opportunities for our students to have some early college experiences during their grades 9 through 12. We also have an agreement with Marquette University where any Marquette High student who would like to take a college level course at Marquette U in the Arts and Sciences College, students are able to do that for discounted tuition rate, which is really a nice opportunity for those who would like to have some early college experiences. So academically, there is a partnership between the university and the high school.
There's a couple questions that came up that'll probably be easier as a follow-up that I'll be able to message out to people. A couple questions about costs of different activities. That'll be easier for me to kind of compile a list of those kinds of things. The academic calendar for the upcoming school year. I know it might not be a final calendar, but there's certainly a draft that would have start days, the big break days that I'd be able to send out as well as a follow-up communication. I was going to ask just a question about, we've talked about, the brotherhood, the environment here. Just a question about, bullying, racism. How do we ensure that students do feel safe at Marquette High School, and what are we doing to address those issues?
I'll begin. The issue of bullying or isolating someone because of a difference, whether that difference is race or learning style or other background characteristics, is not acceptable. We really embrace and speak about our Catholic Jesuit mission, and bullying and any other types of behaviors that are in a kind of a category of bullying are just not acceptable. I would have to describe that the supportive, caring environment that exists for the students here at the school is something that's really owned by the older students. The juniors and the seniors really take serious the brotherhood that exists here at the school. So if they see something that's inconsistent with what we believe in the school, they do something about it. They are the students that are our big brothers. They are our retreat leaders. They are the ones that are charged with caring for our freshmen to see that everyone has an amazing Marquette High experience. And when that doesn't happen, then we need to step in and take care of the matter in a way that speaks to who we are as a Catholic Jesuit school.
Yeah, I would just want to echo everything Jeff said, that we take those issues very seriously, and I think I can be honest here. It's not that we don't have incidences that happen in a given year, but if and when they do, they are met with directly and very seriously. And I will also add, and again, I hope this isn't self-serving, But Jeff mentioned homilies, the Jesuits here who preside at Mass. I think all of us are really good at being very, very forthright and honest when the opportunity presents itself to speak out against those things that are contrary to the gospel message of Jesus Christ and how that is absolutely not acceptable. So I think we speak to it. We face it head on when we have to, and I think we're a better community because of that.
There was a question here that that cuts to me personally, asking about sports, and just aware that sports here can be competitive, and some concern, us that the son may not be able to make a particular sport, even if it's something they really enjoy doing and have been playing a long time. So just to share a quick anecdote from my life, for me that was basketball. I absolutely loved basketball. That was my passion in middle school. Of course, I was a good student too, but I really mostly cared about basketball. And when I got to those tryouts at Marquette High School, just realized that there was a lot of guys here on the team better than I was. And my dream of being that basketball star in high school, came to reality. And I was not going to be a basketball star in high school like I had dreamed of for so long. And looking back on it, certainly it was a humbling experience. But it's really when I decided to try something new. I still love sports. I joined cross country, I joined track, and those were two sports that I never would have thought as an eighth grader that I would be doing in high school and enjoying. I joined the cross country team my freshman year to get in shape for basketball was my mindset. And so just as a quick demonstration, like I always tell guys, if you have it in your mind to play a particular sport, go for it. You can have a great experience. Of course, you're getting great competition, great coaching. We have a lot of success with our sports teams, and that's a lot of fun. And if it doesn't work out, it's also great because it's an opportunity to learn and grow in another way. And I just like to share that with people because it can be real that competitive sports in high school at some point, a person is going to realize, maybe they're not the professional athlete that they dreamed of being. But that's okay, and it allows us to grow and try new things. I don't know if anybody else wants to address that particular question.
John, it's not too late. The NBA still may be calling, so be ready. Seriously, I want to assure you that there is an activity for everyone, and it may not be the sport that perhaps has been played all the way through grade school, but there is every season an opportunity to join a sport. We have no cut sports every season, so there's an opportunity there. As students try out for different teams, the news isn't always positive, and I can speak to a dad about this issue. When my son attended Marquette High, he loved and still loves volleyball. He did not make the varsity team, but he immediately turned from volleyball to be able to join the theater and was in a couple of different plays where he would have never opened himself to that experience if volleyball was still there for him. He also was able to pivot and join the tennis team. And those activities really defined his Marquette High experience. So while disappointing in the moment, there are new opportunities that come forward as a result of a disappointing situation. So please first understand there's something for everyone every season. And second, you never know what opportunity is around the corner as a result of some disappointing news.
There are a couple of questions just related to transportation that I'll try to field here and the logistics with carpooling. First is just to recognize the building is open for extended hours for people. So security gets here at 6 a.m., opens the building, and students can be dropped off that early. It's not like many students are getting dropped off that early, but it can happen. And there are places in the building where the students can go to get breakfast or do homework before school would start. And school generally starts at 8 a.m. with their first class. And then likewise after school, the same. the building remains open and security's here until 10 p.m. Most nights. It's not like we want the boys waiting until 10 p.m. for their rides, of course, but just to know that there is that flexibility, recognizing that families have different schedules and situations, to be able to have their son here early in the morning or be able to keep him out here after school and have places in the building where he can be and be productive or relax a little bit while he's waiting for a ride. From the carpooling end of things, what happens is it'll happen over the summer, really, as we load all of the current families and then the new families coming to Marquette High School into our system. There's essentially a map of all of the Marquette High families that are participating in carpool, and you then get access this summer to that map, where you basically type in your address and then you're able to see the other Marquette High families that have sons at Marquette High School who are participating in the carpool. And then parents are able to reach out to those other families. It works best, certainly, when there's a junior or senior who may be driving to school anyways and can bring your son to school most days. Other times I know it's parents are doing the ride share. You know, I'll take Mondays and you take Tuesdays, and that's the way families are able to work it out. It certainly is a sacrifice for some families to be able to make that transportation work. And we just try to be as accommodating as we can for families to be able to work that out. So really it's a summer thing where you would get that map to be able to contact other families in your neighborhood. I was going to ask, well, maybe I'll just stop here and just ask Jeff and Mike, do you have any, as you're seeing some of these questions come through, anything that you want to address before we kind of wrap things up?
Yeah, John, can we touch on security? I saw a question on security and kind of how our security setup is. I think that's a pretty important question. And I want to assure people that that is a top priority for us here at Marquette High. We have a full-time security team. Our security guards are, in most cases, ex-Milwaukee Police Department individuals. We're here from, as John said, from 6 till 10. We have cameras throughout the building and also in our parking lots. Our doors are locked at 8 o'clock in the morning. So the only way in is through buzzing yourself in through the security team, either on Wisconsin Avenue or Michigan. Michigan is our main entrance, but we do have people coming in on Wisconsin Avenue. But that is a huge priority for us. We take it very seriously, and we have very, very good and committed security guards that make sure your boys are safe as they come to campus.
There's also a question asking to clarify the comment that I made regarding Marquette High's relationship with Marquette University, particularly with the College of Arts and Sciences. So if a student is interested in taking a college level course and it works in the student's schedule, either during the school year or during the summer, the student is able to enroll in that course as a non-degree student and earn the college credit. And the agreement that's in place is that the student enrolls and the tuition is at a significantly discounted rate for Marquette High students. So for example, if a student were to take linear algebra, we teach mathematics through differential equations, that if a student were, or multivariable calculus, if a student were to take linear algebra at Marquette University, the student could earn the 3 college credits from the College of Arts and Sciences. And we have more information about that we can provide to anyone who may be interested.
And we will kind of wrap things up here. My final question for Jeff and Mike is to think of, do you have a Marquette highlight from the year? Do you have a favorite moment from this past school year or from our current school year that you can share? For me, I know it's always that topper delivery day. That is just an exciting day. I know that the 8th grade, you know, the 14-year-old boy emotion and surprise is fun in that video to catch them by surprise. And certainly to see the excitement with the parents is just always a big highlight for me. Something I spend a lot of time planning so that we can get out to as many neighborhoods as possible on that day. But certainly a highlight for me is thinking of that topper delivery day.
I'd say there's always a couple things for me, and And the first day of school is always a highlight for me as the boys are coming back and the energy that they come back into the building with, and especially with our big brothers welcoming the freshmen on their first day in, really put a lot of time and energy into making sure that they feel welcome and it's exciting. That's always a highlight. But a more recent highlight for me, I guess, just a couple weeks ago when I think 9 of our boys found out that they had gotten accepted into Notre Dame, and a few with significant scholarships, and the absolute excitement and joy that they came out and shared with me, that they were so jazzed about getting this opportunity. And while Notre Dame's not a Jesuit school, and I kind of had to, sort of poo-poo that a little bit, I was just so excited for them and just so happy and so proud of them in what they've achieved. And it was just a great highlight.
Maybe 2 highlights come to mind. I just was on the sophomore retreat last week, and the level of depth that the sophomores shared in their faith lives, and how they really had a desire to grow as young men was just so heartwarming to me, and was just something that I'm continuing to remember and think about as a highlight, at least in the last couple of weeks. And then I would agree with you, Father Marco, that first day back when all of the students are in the gym and the last group that's called are our new brothers in the community, and that is our freshmen, and the standing ovation that they receive as they begin their Marquette High journey, to me, is always thrilling. I love that moment.
Well, thank you, Jeff and Mike, for sharing some insight and reflections. You are tremendous leaders for Marquette High School and for me personally. So thank you for your time with us this evening. Just a couple of reminders for folks. Remember that the deadline for that intent to enroll form in final site enrollment is at the end of the month, so January 31st. Even if you are still undecided, please mark that and share more. And so we have to start planning some things for next year. So by January 31st, get into final site enrollment to fill out intent to enroll if you haven't done so already. Our next gathering with the class of 2029 is going to be on Tuesday, February 11th. That's at 7 p.m. To welcome you and explain the course selection process. So you will find out a lot more about courses on that night. That meeting is for both parents and students on the 11th. So hope you have a great night. Again, thanks for spending time with us. We look forward to seeing you soon. Take care.
Thank you, everybody.
Night, everyone. Thank you.
Night.